So Goltres just won, or it got second. It almost won this massive tournament that was happening. Is a Victory Road tournament. So it's kind of crazy. I mean, this is a team that Dorian was using in locals. I know because he goes to my locals. And this team, let's just say it's not. It doesn't. Well, I didn't play it, but it doesn't look very fun to play against. Actually, I think he's in the next like big video I'm making. Well, he's not in it, but like it was at that tournament he was in right before Victory Road. It's a cool team. He's been on it for a while. The Specs Goltres apparently was a change made. I don't know if this is entirely true, but apparently was change made to beat the Grimmsnarl screen teams just so they had more damage and they can actually out damage them. I think this was water last weekend, I think, but anyways, it's cool. I mean, this team is very cool. Obviously you have the banned Arcanine, you have Dorian main, which I featured at my Flutter main guide. And then you have this Raging Bolt, which is just AV, Electro Webs, like for speed control. Sneasler is interesting, obviously something very good in Regulation H, now making come back in Regulation F, and then the Water Pond, pretty standard. The idea with this team is you have the Paraflinch with the T-Wave Flutter, plus the Rock Slide, plus you have like the Fiery Wrath, so you're able to hack slot of your opponents and like kind of fishing for it, plus the Dark, or I guess there's no Dark, like it's Gunk Shot, but you can really hack slot of your opponents, but it still does give you tools to outplay, where even if you're not getting that luck, you're still like putting yourself in positions where you can win without it, while still giving yourself those opportunities to paraflinch your opponents, make them so mad, and then win the game that way. So this team, overall very good, has a lot of options. Terragrass Arcanine here is good for the Amoonguss. Obviously this is Dragon Pulse Bolt, not Draco Meteor, which is commonly seen on the Assault Vest, because this team has a lot more staying power than other teams because of this, like obviously the Follow Me, then we have like the Paraflinching. This team is meant to just sit there and do a lot of damage, not take a lot of damage, but you know, it's pretty well-rounded bulk. So yeah, I think it's just a cool team. Obviously there's a lot of luck involved in this team, so be wary of that if you're using the team, but I think it's on the whole a pretty good team. So I guess we'll look at, I think this is Jeremy Coate, Lando Firepon, yeah. So this is Jeremy Coate's team, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. Yeah, so this is Jeremy Coate's team, another Canadian player. Canadians doing well this tournament. Good job, guys. But yeah, this Bolt is maybe a little bit more standard. It's AV Terra Fairy. Usually they're Terra Electric on AV, but hey bro, it won, so it's doing something right. Then we have the T-Bolt, T-Clap, obviously normal moves for Raging Bolt. And then opposed to Dorian's version, this has Draco Meteor and Snarl. Obviously, Draco Meteor more of a standard pick on the AV bolts just because you want that quick. Plus, you can switch out as well as Snarl to just be good into Side Spam generally, and as well as other teams that would rely a lot on special attack. Citrus Berry Instant is interesting, especially when the Goggle is not anywhere else on the team. So Jeremy obviously opting to use the Citrus Berry over something like the Safety Goggles. Plus Terra Ghost, so there's actually no a way for this Incineroar to be immune to Spore. However, it does have Taunt and Flare Blitz, so it's able to do damage to those Amoongusses. It's able to taunt them. So you're actually like able to sit in front of them and get some stuff done. Fire Pawn obviously as well, Swords Dance. This is pretty standard for these kind of bolt balance. I think a big part of these bolt balance teams is that they've been shifting away from the Calm Mind bolts and more so to just pieces that allow you to outplay, followed by the Swords Dance Ogerpon, which is always a nice thing. So this Ogerpon has Ivy Cudgel and then Glide, obviously to pair well with that Rillaboom, which we'll get to in a second, plus the Swords Dance to set up and have a setup option. Also good into outpacing Incineroar, because obviously lowers 1 and Swords Dance ups 2, so it allows you to get the jump on opposing Incineroar, even if you are intimidated. And yeah, overall, Fire Pond is very, very good. You can Terra Fire. You don't actually have to worry about those, you can get an attack boost when you Terra Fire, which allows you to do damage without the Sword Dance. So the Sword Dance is more so an option rather than a requirement. While on the Calm Mind bolts, you typically had to set up a bunch of Calm Minds before you could get anything done. So this is a very, very cool Ogerpon. I mean, I guess it's pretty normal, but it's still cool. Then we got Rillaboom. This Rillaboom is actually high horsepower Clear Amulet, which is not very common, but again, Jeremy kind of has to improvise here because the AV is on the Bolt. And I'd imagine, like, if you're not running AV Bolt, what are you running? Like Magnet? Like, yeah, it's okay, but Bolt, like most of the time bolts are going to want Assault Vest, and I feel like in this team your Rillaboom can kind of go without the Assault Vest, just because you already have the Snarl, plus you have it on maybe a more bulky Pokemon. So on the whole, the AV is better equipped for the Bolt rather than the Rilla. But yeah, this is just a standard Rilla. A lot of them run U-turn, a lot of them run high horsepower. Really just depends on what you're trying to hit. High horsepower allows you to hit things like opposing Incineroar maybe a bit better, allows you to hit the Terra Ogerpons, allows you to hit the Bolts. It actually allows you to do some damage to a lot of pieces that otherwise might be difficult, especially Fire Pond. Normally you're just stuck clicking U-turn, switching out, but high horsepower, obviously a higher base power than U-turn. Plus, it allows you to actually get the damage without having to switch out. And then obviously the Clear Amulet is good because you're immune to Intimidate. So this means that Rillaboom can actually do damage in spite of Incineroar being everywhere, which is cool. Then we got the Lando. The Terra Steel Lando is interesting. Most of them are either Steel or Poison. Apart from that, it's a pretty standard Lando. A lot of them run Sandsear, but I feel like on this kind of team, you don't really have that rain option, and I don't really know if you want to be clicking Sanseer all the time, especially when you could miss. So if you're okay with gambling, then maybe you could make an argument for Sanseer, but obviously Jeremy opted for substitute. Logic being, sit in front of Amoonguss, you can have more options into maybe slower paced teams like Heart Trick Room, probably good into stuff like Dorian main. I would imagine this probably came up somehow in the matchup, but on the whole, this is just a very consistent normal piece. And then the Flutter main. This Flutter main does not have any reason to have Taunt because the Incineroar has that covered, so you get to use Dazzling Gleam to hit both targets, plus Icy Wind for speed control. On the whole, relatively standard Flutter main. A lot of them run Taunt in this slot, or T-Wave, or Shadow Ball in this slot, but Jeremy, not really needing that ghost damage, would rather have that extra fairy damage that hits both slots, plus the Terra Fairy option gives you kind of gives you kind of a more offensive Flutter main that can actually do damage. Okay, so this was Taro Okada's team. I don't know if I'm saying that right. My bad if I'm not. I'm sorry, bro. I don't know, man. I'm too tired for this, bro. I'm not on enough sleep today. But yeah, so Terra Grass, Goggles, and Sinaging. I think Wolf, but the idea being that if your Goggles gets knocked off, you still have that resist into Spore, plus Grass is just generally a good defensive type for Incineroar. Obviously sacrificing the Terra Ghost and that Fake Out, or potential Fake Out immunity, but I think on this team you have enough damage output where one turn from your Incineroar, it's not going to be the end of the world. Flare Blitz, knock off, Parting Shot, Fake Out is cool. It's very standard, not really much to go over here. It's an Incineroar. Another AV Rillaboom with high horsepower as well. So this AV Rillaboom is probably maybe opting just to do damage. Like you're not gonna be pivoting as much with this team. You're just gonna be damage, kind of with that Chen Pao Ursh mode, which we will get to in a second. But on the whole, high horsepower is a good move. It's 95% accurate, so you want to be careful in that, but on the whole it's pretty good and relatively standard Rillaboom. So this is where things get interesting. This is a Terra Grass Chen Pao with Ice Shard. Now the thing that's interesting is if you look carefully, there's no dark type move. You have Ice Crash, you have Ice Shard, and you have Sacred Sword. There is no Sucker Punch on this team. Why that is, I don't know. It's probably for something. I don't know what that is. I didn't build the team, but it's very cool. It's very interesting to not see the standard POW. Obviously, the Grass POW, different than the Ghost POW. I'm actually very interested with what Ice Shard is for, because I really don't understand why you would want it over Sucker, which means that is probably for like a specific matchup or something that Taro maybe was a bit bad. Like, what's the word? I forget how to word this. It's in the thoughts in my brain. This is probably for a matchup that Taro was struggling with and was just like, hey, bro, Sucker Punch is not valuable enough to warrant like sacrificing this matchup for it, so I'll put on Ice Shard and then make a specific matchup better. What that matchup is, I don't know, man, but it's probably for something. So then we got the Mystic Ursh. Now this is a Mystic Steel Ursh. Steel Ursh is interesting. We have not seen a lot of Steel Ursh, because a lot of Ursh opt for more offensive like Terra types, like usually Stellar or Water. But this one's Steel, obviously the best defensive type in the game. You're resisting the Fairy, you're resisting the Grass. Maybe not the best to Fire Pawn, but like then you just like at that point you're just playing the 50-50. They're gonna click like Woodhammer or Avicultural. So on the whole, this is a very, very cool Urshifu Terra. A lot of them are fire as well. Standard Urshifu set. I'm still kind of curious about this Chen Pao Sucker Punch because I don't see any dark damage here, but I'm sure it's for something. Then obviously we got the Calm Mind Bolt. This has kind of fallen off a little bit, but obviously still good. I mean, Terra was able to get third in the tournament with it, so it's obviously doing something right. You got the Calm Mind, naturally, it's Calm Mind Bolt, and then the T-Clap, T-Pulse, like standard Bolt. There's nothing really to say here. Oh yeah, now we're yeah, this is something. So now we got a Terra Poison, booster speed, Pain Split Flutter Mane. So this Flutter Mane is probably very bulky, taking advantage of Flutter Mane's fast speed. And you may be asking, why don't you just use a different Pokemon at that point if that's how you're going to play Flutter Mane? And the answer is, one, because your stats are so naturally high in special attack and speed that you actually don't need to invest that much for it to be crazy. Like, if I'm going, like, Timid, right, and I'm investing, like, the first bump, that is 176 with 36 EVs. You're not really getting that anywhere else in the format, necessarily. So it's nice to have that speed, but you can also invest a ton in bulk. Plus the Terra Poison and Flutter Mane's natural typing actually allows you to be very bulky, plus the Plane Split and the speed. There's a lot of reasons why you use Flutter Mane, not something maybe slower or less offensive. On the whole, it's very cool. Taunt makes sense to slow down the Amoongusses, slow down the opposing, Calm Mind Bolts, and then T-Wave. Just evil. Pain Split obviously being the kind of main attraction of this Flutter. Alright, and finally for the top four, we got this Snow-looking team piloted by Wu Chen, who is a Taiwan. Okay, so let's look at this. We got Water Pawn with Cudgel. I mean, this is just standard Water Pawn. I don't really know what to say. Just Cudgel Horn, which follow me, Spiky Shield. It's just standard Water Pawn. Lando T is interesting. Scarf Lando T, this is popular back in Reg D, somewhat Reg E, and kind of fell off afterwards. I know Bando was also quite popular at that time, but this is kind of the more standard set that's been going around Scarlet and Violet. It's pretty cool. I mean, you turn EQ Rock Slide to Terra Blast, Terra Flying, Terra Blast. Obviously, Lando doesn't get any good like physical flying moves, so having this Terra Blast is very, very nice to have. I think this is very cool to be able to use Lando T again. And on the whole, it's just a cool set. I mean, you have that fast U-turn, you have the Intimidate, you have something that can actually hit Incineroar, which is maybe a little bit nicer, especially if you already have your fire type covered by Heatran. Now, this is a Magma Storm Taunt Will-O-Wisp Heatran, so this is probably more of a supportive / stall based Heatran. The idea being that you just sit in front of stuff, you Magma Storm them, you taunt them, you Will-O-Wisp them, make them unable to do damage, and then just kind of go from there. Now, it's also important to keep in mind that this is a Veil Ninetales, so this Heatran plus the Veil Ninetales, it just allows you to have so much bulk on this team, especially with the Water Pond and Lando as well in a way, and Bolt actually. You just have so much bulk to work with on this team that you're actually able to run this stall mode that is maybe a little bit different than your snow mode running. Now for Raging Bolt, we have E-Webs, Draco Meteor, T-Clap, Snarl. So what's interesting about this is that they're actually opting to run E-Webs over T-Bolts. A lot of them would run T-Bolts in this slot, but the E-Webs is just for the speed control. Obviously, you're not really getting that speed control anywhere else. You could make an argument for Icy Wind on the Ninetales, but I think there's also an argument for the Double Blizzard, which just allows you to just like hopefully fish for freezes, which I think is always like, if you don't know what to do, you can always just double snow and just like see. But on the whole, Articuno Ninetales is something that has won a regional, it has been popular, will be popular. It's just a great core in this format. The E-Web's helping with that speed control, maybe allowing pieces like the Heatran or the Articuno to have speed pieces that they normally wouldn't. Obviously, standard Articuno Snow Cloak choice specs just allows you to maybe get higher, like maybe not. Okay, bro. Snow Cloak allows you to dodge, not all the time, but it's somewhat consistent. Like it just gives you that option. Plus, you have the choice specs just to like do a ton of damage with Terra Ice. Like your special attack isn't so high, but like Blizzard's a 110 base power. You can't miss in snow. You can freeze. Like there's so many things that just can, so many multipliers and so many things that can happen that this team is just very, very strong. And finally, the Ninetales, we kind of talked about it a bit, but standard Terra Fire, Snow Warning, Light Clay with Blizzard, Moon West, Aurora Veil Helping Hand. So this just allows you to either fish for freezes, boost damage, get a like fairy damage, or just get some screens up. Obviously very consistent Pokemon, allows you just to like, I guess it gives the team an extra, first of all, it gives them an extra dimension with the snow, which I think is kind of obvious. I mean, there's a Ninetales and an Articuno, obviously it's a snow team, but also gives them an extra advantage with the Aurora Veil plus the like the Heatran Lando behind screens, which maybe make them more of a nuisance than normally would be. So yeah, let me know if you guys enjoyed the video. There's an Entei here, but let me know if you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to see more, let me know in the comments. That's not true. I was gonna say I'm almost done the next video, like the big one. I'm not almost done it. I'm like 10 minutes in. It's brutal, guys. It's bad, but it's pretty good. I think it's better than the other one, so I hope you guys like it. Anyways, I'm gonna stop boring you guys. See you in the next one. Goodbye.